All right. So we're going to get into the conversation about Marc Lamont Hill, who says he's depressed. So let's tackle that subject and we'll use this as a case study for a deeper dive. Um, and we'll see what we can extract from the conversation.
The hell are you depressed about, man?
Joe,
You know it's not
mental
fair.
health doesn't
My wife's mother's sick. My mother is she's not sick, but she's just needs a lot of care because she's blind. I got a brother I got to take care of who's locked up. I got his son who's not locked up, who I got to care for because he's 13 and black and outside. You know what I'm saying? And a good kid, but just a lot of that. I got my
Your
own.
brother's gonna be.
So, family issues comes with the game, with the territory. When you take on a woman, you know, you have to be very mindful of her family dynamics and what you are expected to do pertaining to her family. Things obviously aren't your responsibility to a large extent because her hopefully her mother is married and has a husband to look after her, and she has other sons. And if not, then you do what you can. But it's only so far you can go. When people put these expectations on you, to make you become their servant, it's not always the best case for you. And if you're expecting to lead and be effective, you have to be able to live your life appropriately. So in order for you to help more people, you have to be living your best life, so to speak. That doesn't mean avoiding responsibilities and being careless. No, that means focusing on what you really should be focusing on: your business, your health, your enjoyment with life. And then, obviously you're protecting your immediate family, your wife, your children, they're under your covering. But after that, whatever you choose to participate in should be with an open heart, open spirit. You really shouldn't be too heavy when you're taking on these extra tasks. And you know that people are heavy, or they can't really afford to take on these extra tasks in the moments that they do because of the stress that it brings upon themselves. Or else we wouldn't be here having this conversation. I don't want to necessarily criticize Marc Lamont Hill, but I find it interesting because, people like Marc Lamont Hill speak on these platforms from a authoritative perspective, as almost if they know better than so many people. They're so intelligent, yet they don't understand these basic concepts, such as personal boundaries. It's funny that, in this therapy culture, this new TikTok social media culture where everyone has to be told and taught common sense things. And again, I'm sensitive to, random struggles and random things that are thrown into your lap that you can't avoid. That's understandable. But there is a fine line between you just putting yourself in things that you don't need to be put in. All you're doing is adding more to your plate, whether you feel like you're some kind of savior or something. Listen, we are only human. So if you're expected to save people on a large scale, you better have the capacity to do that. And the person that I only know that is able to do certain things, such as save people on a massive scale, that's God. That's the Most High. Jesus. And if you're ordained with some kind of special gift or ability, then I don't think you would be feeling such a drawback from doing what you are gifted to do. So we're going to let him talk because I know I'm starting to ramble a little bit. But I really find that interesting that Marc Lamont Hill, of all people, said that he's depressed on this podcast because he just comes across like he's killing it. Life is good. He knows right from wrong. He speaks from this authoritative point of view. He knows what's best for people. He has the best advice. Believe all women. It's interesting that he's the one that's depressed. Or is it aligned to what the things that he says that people may not catch in real time? This mentality that he has, maybe that aligns with someone that is depressed. The way that he looks at the world, maybe that aligns with someone that does deal with depression. So
locked up for how much longer?
He'll be home in year and a half.
Okay.
He'll be home in a year and a half.
All right, fans.
So he got, family being incarcerated is never easy. It's never an easy thing to deal with. But you have to remember that you only have you really don't have any responsibility for another adult. Whatever they're choosing to do with their life, the choices that they're making, and you think you're going to come in there and save them and help them, that's only going to enable the problem. I understand someone was wrongly, accused or absolutely, wrongly detained, then that's a different story. But if someone did something and they were convicted of something, they have to suffer the consequences so that they never will repeat that, if they even can get out or come home from that situation. Black people, we have to have that old school masculine tough love. The fathers of the past did not play with crime. My grandfather did not play about anything that had to do with criminal or activity, organizations. He wanted you to do things clean cut, the right way. Yeah, it might be a little harder. It might take a little longer, but it's way better than the outcome of going to prison or jail. The culture thinks that you can skate this line of, practicing behaviors that can potentially put you in those scenarios, which will change your life forever. The fathers and the grandfathers of the past, they didn't even listen to hip hop. Or if they did, it would just be, they genuinely enjoyed just the music that they heard. But the culture of hip hop, they didn't do none of that. That culture didn't exist. This came after the 80s and the crack era. It's a post-crack culture. It is what it is. Yeah, there's talented people. Yeah, there's great music. But the foundation of the culture came from the streets. And street culture is not a prosperous culture long term. And this is a pivotal time because the street culture is ran its course. There's new conversations going on. There's new Black men that are speaking out publicly in the media, such as myself. There's new conservative faces, more Black Republicans, younger Black Republicans, hip Black Republicans, because we came from some of the aspects of the culture. We know a lot of the music. We know the figures. We know the lifestyle. We know the lingo. But we never participated in certain things because we knew it was just entertainment. We knew it was stupid in real life to just try to emulate some of the things that we saw or heard, which is why I believe you're seeing such a strong movement of Black men realizing who they really are. A lot of us forgot, the teachings from our grandparents and our uncles. Not saying they were perfect, but they just instilled certain things in us that, not even just the hip hop culture, but American culture has tried to replace. So it's important to get these values back in their proper place so that we can execute not just culturally, but financially. When you put the right things in place, you're more focused, you're more dedicated to the right things. You're spending more time on the right things. Your mindset is better. Your relationship and your outlook on life with women is better. The culture is definitely affected the relationship between men and women, and men being in the leadership positions that we are. We need to have a proper mindset when it comes to women. Hip hop is too abrasive, but it is right to an extent about women. Women can be some of the things that we hear in the hip hop songs. You're right. But hip hop almost glorifies it and it blows it up and highlights it so much. You think that that's all there is. Now, there is a lot of that. I'm not saying to be naive, but when you adjust your frame of mind, you're more open and more observant of the women that are nothing like the stereotypes that are placed in the rap music. And then you'll have better relationship, better outcomes with the women in your real life. And you'll attract, more wives and will produce more wives once the men set a different standard. Because at the end of the day, a powerful man sets the benchmark for anything because everybody wants to be like the most sustainable, the most powerful, the highest quality. I know I'm going to the tangent, but even today I was watching something. Fat Joe and Jadakiss admitted that the rappers are going broke. That rappers, even though they make more money, they spend way more money. So let's say you're making $1,000 a week. Your rent's $2,000. That's what you can afford. Probably shouldn't be spending 50% on your housing. Probably should go down to 20%, 25% or less. But you get $100,000 a month. These rappers are getting bills and properties, multiple properties, one property where they're spending $50,000 a month. And they're locked into these things. So let's say their money slows up. That $100,000 a month they're getting slows up that month. They don't get $100,000, they get $50,000 a month. So now they're behind because they bought some chains. So now all they can do is afford their $50,000 a month payment. So now they're trying to play catch up and get another gig. So when we look at the numbers, we look at the chains, we're not realizing they're not calculating how they're even purchasing things. They're just doing it in such a random way. They're not scaling up their money. They're not reinvesting their money. They're spending all their principal and they're left with nothing but debt. Debt with interest sometimes. So yes, they make a lot of money, but because of the mindset, they're not putting it in the right places. It's about mindset. You got to have a strong mindset. And I don't want to ever come across like I know it all or I haven't experienced anything because I've been depressed in the past. I've made bad financial decisions in the past. But once you clear up these things and you grow up and you gain wisdom, God, remains present in your life and you accept him as, the most high, you realize things are okay. You are capable of providing for yourself. You're capable of having the right mindset so that you don't get depressed. You wake up with a purpose. Find your purpose. Find what you're good at. Don't let people take up too much of your time. You realize that listen, if this person is going through that, then maybe they need to go through that. I'm going to step back and allow them to do it so that I can focus on what I need to. Because when I'm focusing on my purpose, I'm happy, I'm fulfilled. It may hurt when some things or something happens to someone that's close to you. But if that is not your responsibility, it's not your responsibility. It's simple as that.
It's still desire.
You notice that conservative men don't act like that, though. I don't know any conservative men from my experience since a child, even before YouTube. I'm talking about in real life. Excuse me. I don't remember any conservative men that would just like let you get away with anything. You could keep coming to them for anything, even their daughters. Even the daughters, as cute as the daughters were, even though they were the women, the weaker sex, you couldn't get over on your father for, a strong masculine father was not letting anybody get over on them. You're not going to keep, oh, so you want to date that boy. Oh, you're not going to listen to me. So you know he for the streets, he a drug dealer. So you're going to date him. All right, so I'm done with you. Until you leave him, move back home, you do this, go to school, go to work. I know what you're doing. You're disowned. Or you go learn your lessons. Whatever you come back up, we'll clean you up. But if you're not going to be up under me, then we don't got nothing to talk about. Nowadays, everything is, listen, I understand about redemption and forgiveness, but we can't enable. So if someone is in the middle of doing the wrong things, we've made it so comfortable for people that they never have to change. They never feel like they have to really change or upgrade. So showing up for people, you're doing two things wrong. You're making it harder for yourself because you're adding extra trauma on yourself and you're not helping that person grow. And this is why I believe the hood and just that liberal mindset is so not good, because you have so many people. No one in the hood is really doing the right things. No one in the hood is really focused on their life to the point where they want to become better or they want to make their immediate environment better. Because the people that do that, they end up getting out of the hood. Think about what I'm saying. The people that are focused, studying a craft, learning a skill, have big ideas, they end up leaving the hood because that environment, there's nothing there. So the people there are either doing the wrong things, baby mama, baby daddy, drug dealer, drug user, this poor mindset, low work ethic, lazy. Those people are there. And then you have the people there that feel like they got to help those same people. So these people might be they might have a little something going for themselves, maybe a little bit of sense, maybe work ethic, maybe potential. But instead of doing what they need to do, they're focusing on the people that aren't really doing the right things as well. So it's not even like you're going to have the mindset where, oh, I feel like I want to help you. It's like, nah, you're not contributing, so you got to go. And that person is going to need to learn that lesson. We have a culture where you can't just bullshit in any type of relationship. It sets a standard so people can be much more appreciative for the opportunities. I wake up and I'm just happy for an opportunity to participate in the world. Genuinely. I'm genuinely happy just to wake up and have an opportunity to participate in the world. I swear. But when you do these things, you think you're helping people, you're making them entitled, you're making them lazy, you're making them inefficient. Well, we need to be inefficient in all aspects of our lives, or as efficient as possible. We're not going to be perfect, but the fact that we know that life is the way it is, it's constant maintenance on our bodies, on our environments, our homes, our businesses, our family. Why wouldn't we want to be as productive and as efficient as possible? And that starts inside your literal brain. People, no matter how many tools come out, no matter how much AI can do for us, no matter how much industries can boom, no matter how much money could be put into the economy, if the mindset, what's inside doesn't change, and what's inside your heart and your spirit does not change, there will be no growth. You will not even see the opportunities. You won't even know you won't even care to use the tools. The money you'll use in the wrong way. So we got to really, really change our mind, become mentally stronger, mentally sharper.
And some things could happen.
Some things can
if
happen.
you don't
That's
show
true.
up. That's not true.
Yeah.
Some things will fall, some things won't. But the way I'm wired, I feel like everything will fall, and I feel responsible for it.
So that sounds like some kind of, trauma bond. That's what the word is nowadays, right? Trauma bond. You're trauma bonded with yourself and an experience of your past that makes you think like that and stuck in that mindset. Because one, there's always going to be something that goes right and wrong in the world at all times. There's something that's going to be going on that's right and wrong at all times. Even with your children, when they go, whether public school or private school, when you let them go away for that day and you're not there, they out of your hands. Now you do your due diligence, you do as much as you can to put them in the right environment, but you know that we're not telepathic, all seeing. And that's why God is he is so important. Really think about it. I'm not saying God like a genie or a magician. I'm talking about we only know what we know. Think about it. We were born, we learned from our experiences from our childhood. And that's it. That's why I respect elders more, because it's like, oh, you really was here before me. I got to give you that credit. You were here before me. Now, I could recognize an old fool from an old wise person from the results of their actions, the fruits of their labor, their positioning in life. But there's something to someone being here or having experience that you don't have. So when you think about what the heck created all of this, what created all of this? God. So if God, you know, listen, there's plenty of people that live their whole lives and then die. Beautiful families. Why does that happen? You go to surrounding towns, you go to suburbs, and you see nothing but peace. Not perfection, but it's peace. What does that mean? You got to let some things go. We have the environment that we need to do what we need to do as humans. We do what we can, we control what we can control, and everything else you have to let go. Because one, as a man, you got to be past that type of thinking, because that's what the women are going to do. Women are going to manage their emotions for a little while, but even then they come up and they slip and they just like, you really think that? Like, okay. You worried about that? It's like, yeah, the kids at school, we vetted the school's safe. They'll call if there's an emergency, God willing, there's nothing. And then we keep it moving. But you know, the girl gonna, oh, it's the first day, I'm so scared. And you're like, men think that's illogical. That's what this mindset kind of reflects to me. It's like you're worried about if you don't help someone that is in a problem that they put themselves in, that worries you. Really?
Some really dumbass drug crime.
8 years, man. Oof, it's tough. Only for a drug crime. Think about that. Anyone out there that ever even considered that, don't do it. 8 years in the most horrible environment. Nothing soft about it. No love, no sweet smells from a lady. No beautiful smiles from your babies. No pets, no dogs. No recreation. Well, they got recreation, but you don't want to play with no sweaty people. They trying to get in your drawers at night and then play a game the next day. Like, what kind of environment is that, bro? Nobody trying to be in that. Just say no to drugs, selling it or using it, to be honest. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Really dumbass shit. He ain't need to do it, whatever. Anyway, he gets
He didn't need to do it. He didn't need to do it. How's he going to learn that lesson?
out and he calls me maybe like a year later and says, yo, Mark, I need $15,000 today. And I said, well, for what? He said, I have to pay my restitution. And I said, well, what have you been doing?
Even the way, maybe, I don't know if he asked him the way he's saying it, but if someone said, yo, I need 15,000, like, you better come to me like the most humble person and you better explain in detail. Probably not going to do it, but you better explain in detail why you are deserving of this. What is going on? Like, oh, I need this and you telling me your problems. Wait, what? Bruh, you made that mistake and you got to pay your debts. That ain't my debt. I'm not your father. What's going on?
Doing the last, how's it $15,000? He was like, well, I haven't been paying it.
So this dude hasn't been handling his responsibilities. He's already committing acts that are illegal. It don't make sense, bro. Why would you help somebody that's not responsible in those aspects? I said fiscally, not fiscally, financially. Fiscally is just for the government, but it's crazy. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here, though. I think I'm gonna do another topic referring to actually Melissa Ford. So we'll come back at it, and we'll keep speaking the gospel, man. Live with no fear.